Welcome back to the Geek, Odyssey, fellow adventurers. I'm your host, Sontan Mythos. Today's video, we are doing another tier list. Hey guys, thank you so much for your recent support. As of the time of recording, the video I did 3 weeks ago has 4.7k views and over 130 likes. Thank you guys so much for your support on that video. And Monday's video is on 126 views and 8 likes. Thank you guys so much. Be free to comment below, like on any of my videos. As of the time of recording this, it is around 2:30 on a Wednesday. So 2 days after that video came up and it's already on 126 views. So thank you guys so much. I'm aiming for this year to get to the first level of monetization. And the reason I want to do that is so I can have more money to spend on this channel, like hiring an editor. Now we are going to focus on today's video. We're going to rank the first 5 books in the Percy Jackson series, the original 5. Well, and maybe the Demigod Files. We'll get to that. This was inspired because I always wanted to do this. I asked you guys in the community post, so be sure to check that out because I will be posting more often on their questions. That may be for upcoming future videos or just your thoughts on things. The tier list will be broken down to D tier, below average, with significant aspects that could really be enhanced. C tier, it's good, but with there are notable areas of improvement. It's a solid book. You wouldn't say it's bad, but you wouldn't say it's amazing. B tier, this is very good. A few minor aspects could be changed to be improved, but really good. A is an excellent book. These are great books, near perfect. They're just missing that X factor or have a few plot holes or mistakes there that just weigh it down just a little too much. And then S tier is reserved for exceptional cases. If the series or the book has made a profound impact on me, it's virtually flawless, at least in my eyes, it should be considered S tier. Without any further ado, we're going to start off with The Lightning Thief. And I'm going to put this straight into A tier. It's the first book that got me into the franchise, and it's a franchise that saved my life. This, alongside very few other things, saved my life. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here today. And I don't mean on YouTube, I mean on Earth. So I owe this book as it was the start of it, and it was what gripped me. This book is very well written, I think. It's very fun. And as someone who has dyslexia and ADHD, amongst other things, it's really helped me at the time feel normal and accepted and where I belonged. This book came out in around 2005, which is when I was 5, but I did not read it until I was around 13. I didn't know it existed until then. I think the plot is very engaging at the time of me reading it, and I was not a big reader at the time. The most I ever read was The Gladiator Boy, but that's 20 pages or something, 100 pages at most. And to me, that was a big book at the time. And it's not even like my dyslexia stopped me from reading bits. Sometimes, yes. Back then, a lot more than it is now. But still not that bad. But what it was if something didn't grip me, I just couldn't read. And that's the problem. But now I could read more because of Percy Jackson. And I was enthralled in The Lightning Thief, and I read it in the same amount of time it took me to read The Gladiator Boy. That's a third of what Percy Jackson and The Lightning Thief is. And it wasn't even I was skim reading it, I was reading it properly. The world building is done really well in The Lightning Thief. It's great pacing. The character development is done well over the course of the book, and it sets up everything for the series. It's iconic. It has to be A tier, and it has one of the most iconic scenes, which if you haven't read the books or are watching the show currently, you should probably turn away. I'll put spoiler warnings on bits where I think might be spoiler in the editing. The Sea of Monsters is next. I put this a low B tier. As in second books, there are improvements. So from a technical standpoint, it is a better compared to the first book because of the growth of the author, But it's lost its initial, magic of the first book. If you think of Harry Potter, the first 2 books were filled with awe, magic, and wonder, right? And then from then on, it lost that. But it kept a wonderful story. And this does do that, but I think it's 1 book too soon to lose that, magic compared to the writing quality. Having said that, this isn't saying there's no magic or there's not enough quality. There's lots of quality in this book. But this is widely regarded by the fans as the worst book. But having said that, as I said, it's not a bad book. There's just it feels like there's less development than in the later books and familiarity. But I still think it's a really good book. As I said, low B tier, which, as we said earlier, very good with few minor aspects of improvement. And I don't even know what those improvements are. I just know it's not quite the same. Now we have book 3, The Titan's Curse. Now this is middle B tier, high B tier, around that mark. This book is the one that I really enjoyed the first 2-3 times I read it. But the last time I read it, I mostly felt about it. I was just in a weird like area, health-wise and mentally at the time. No, not like bad mentally. I was just about everything at the time. It was weird. And then when I did start to get into it, the Queen died. I'm from the UK, for those of you who don't know. So for me, it was a big thing, and it took me out of it. And then I didn't read it for a while because I was upset, and then I had other things to do. And when I came back to it, I couldn't restart it because it was all too fresh in my mind. But then to carry on, it was not fresh enough in my mind, so it kind of took me out of the experience a bit, which has dropped it down a bit. I know, but it has some very iconic moments. So spoiler ahead in 3, 2, 1. All the jokes about damn, right? It is iconic when a bunch of them are there and they're like, I need some damn French fries and stuff like that. It is hilarious. And it has one of our, as a fandom, one of our favourite Percy shit moments, which is when Percy holds up the sky and heavens and gets a grey streak on his hair due to the strain of it, like Annabeth, and now they've got matching grey streaks, which they need to do when they get to this in the series. Once they get to this third book, if they don't put that in, it's going to be a riot. Book 4, The Battle of the Labyrinth. This is high B tier, low A tier. I'm currently rereading this one. I'm like towards the very beginning. I'm loving it so far, but can't really read as much as I want to due to YouTube. I have to like almost always focus on YouTube. It's either recording a video, writing a script for a video, editing a video. This is why I need an editor to help cut out the process. And I've also writing a book. I was meaning to mention this to you guys. I have got a few books that were in process, but now I'm going to be focusing on 2. Essentially, the way my brain works, if I focus on one thing too much, it goes stale and things, so I'll switch between the 2. And actually, the profile picture on my channel is actually one of the characters from one of the books. So if there are any artists who want to help me draw the other characters, feel free to hit me up. Anyway, back to this. The Battle of the Labyrinth has one of the 2 most iconic scenes, which is Percy doing rock, paper, scissors against a creature with what, 1,000 arms, 100 arms, and winning somehow. And then we also have Rachel, who everyone hated, who I liked first, then disliked, and then liked again, throw a hairbrush at the Lord of Time, the Titan, the big bad of the series, and hitting him in the eye and just winning. I think that's hilarious and absolutely badass. Now, before we get on to the last book, I will very briefly talk about the Demigod Files, which, to be honest, B tier, solid B tier, even high B tier, you could argue. Heck, you could even give it A tier. The only reason I'm not giving it A tier, I want to hear more of those stories. It's just too short, in my opinion. I love all the little stories in there. I'm not going to spoil them, so if you haven't read them, please read them. Please go get the book and read it. It is a great little ride, and it gives you a peek behind the scenes with Camp Half-Blood and stuff like that. It is great. Now on to the final book, The Last Olympian. This is high A tier / S tier. This is by far the best book of the first series, and you guys tend to agree. At the time of recording, 66% of you voted as it's your favourite book from the original, with 23 voting The Lightning Thief, 7% The Titan's Curse, and 4% The Labyrinth. So you guys prefer The Titan's Curse to The Battle of the Labyrinth. But I think because of this, I'm going to bump this up to S tier. The Lightning Thief will be middle to high A tier. The Battle of the Labyrinth will be low A tier. The Titan's Curse would be high B tier. And the Sea of Monsters will remain B tier, just solid B tier. If you guys agree or disagree, please let me know. And I've been trying not to spoil too much of the books, because if you guys haven't read any of them yet, please go read them. And some of you might be thinking, why would you come to this channel if you haven't read them? Well, people might be thinking about getting into them after the show. Now, I know a lot of people are doing their opinions on the show. I'm waiting until the whole series is over, and then I'll give my opinion of the whole series, and then I'll break down each individual episode. I'm waiting for it all to come out, then I'll watch it all again. My mum agreed with this, so that's what I'll be doing. So if you want my honest opinions, you'll have to wait until the first series has ended. I think that's better than just doing it bit by bit, because some of the changes now might look or great, but if they don't pay off well, we won't know. So we'll have to wait and see. Even though I do think the books are always better. Mind you, I always recommend to people watching movies or series first if applicable, and then reading the books. For example, I watched Harry Potter. I liked all the Harry Potters. I liked the first 2, and then The Goblet of Fire more than the rest. And then I read the books, and they were even better. So instead of feeling like, oh, this isn't in it, when you're watching a series, it's more like, oh, look, they've got more, because you always love experiencing more. That's just my little tip if you guys haven't watched the show yet, or are watching it and you haven't read the books and you're thinking whether you should or not. Go ahead and watch the show first and then read the book. If you can't wait for the second series of the show to come out, then maybe you can go ahead. But that's just my little tip of the day. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to share this video with all your friends and subscribe to the channel. It will really help the growth of this channel, and if we get to 500 subscribers, that will help increase the possible income for me to use on this channel, like potentially hiring an editor or any other member of staff for this channel to make the process easier and you get better quality videos. So please be sure to do that. I'd love to be able to do this full time one day. But until next time, peace.